Okay, so now let's do something similar, but this time it's going to be similar to the previous problem. We just worked on number 9, and now we're going to look at number 10. So it is important to start with the correct formula for the sum of angles. And we talked about the cosine of a plus b. A minus b is, or v minus u, is going to be pretty easy to figure out. V sine u. Okay, so as we talked about with the last video, the information that we're given is going to give us some items. We have 4 things that we need. And the fact that we have a u and a v, this makes a big difference. So we want to pay close attention. So I've got sine of u, which means I have the 4th item, and cosine of v, and we have the 1st item, but we don't have the other 2. So that's where our work is going to be. And how are we going to get the other ones? Well, let's start with cosine of u, and they come under the same formula, which is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. And so if we want the cosine of u, I'll call the cosine of u x. And if in fact the theta equals u, then this should be sine squared of u. Well, the sine of u is minus 12 over 13, so we get negative 12 over 13 squared plus x squared equals 1. This is an algebraic equation, meaning this is something you've been doing for years and years. Be careful when you simplify the squared, because the negative sign will cancel. We get 144 out of 169 plus x squared equals 1. And let's write the number 1 in this special form. And when we subtract this term from both sides, we get 25 over 169. So x equals plus or minus 5 over 13. X, remember, was cosine of u. Okay, how do we know whether to choose the plus or the minus? Well, both angles are in quadrant 3. All students take calculus. In quadrant 3, cosine is negative. So that means that we're going to want negative 5 over 13. So in place of x, we'll put in negative 5 over 13. Okay, so let's write in what we have so far. We have that the cosine of v is negative 8 over 17. That's the cosine of u. The sine of u is negative 12 out of 13. And now let's find the sine of v. All right, so this is going to be similar to what we did previously. We are interested in this formula, except this time the angle that we're looking at is v. So we want the sine of v, so we'll call that y. We'll say the sine of v is y. So that means sine squared of v is y squared. Cosine squared of v, we already know that. That was given is negative 8 over 17. And this is equal to 1. So here again, let me see what 17 squared equals. Here again, this is an algebraic equation. It's something you've been doing for a long, long time. Make this 289. Oops, 289 over 289. And we get y squared equals 225 over 289. So this is going to be 15 over 17. Once again, because we're taking the square root, we've got a plus or a minus. It's a plus or a minus. And remember, y was equal to the sine of v. writing is getting cramped in here. How do we know whether to choose a plus or a minus? Well, we're in quadrant 3, and in quadrant 3, the sign is negative. So we are going to choose minus 15 over 17. Okay? So we're left with 40 plus, what's 15 times 12? Because the negatives cancel. 180 divided by 17 times 13, which gives us 221. So that's going to be 220 over 221. And the number needs to be less than 1 because cosine has a maximum of 1. Okay.